Well, guys, this week a massive heat wave is slamming the country with temperatures over 100 degrees. Honestly, the heat is a welcome relief. It's nice to hear about something in the 90s that's not a presidential candidate, isn't it?
Oh, I see. They're talking about age and not poll numbers or the decade or anything like that, but about how old they are. That's hilarious. They're funny bunch. Do they give out awards for comedy? That'd be a difficult task, wouldn't it? Who would get an award? There'd be a couple of comedians, actually, that would get awards for comedy. None of them have late-night TV shows, that's for sure. They could give one to Cringe. They could give one to Cringe Jean-Pierre. She's unintentionally hilarious. Raggedy Ann, the Raggedy Ann at the podium at the White House. Extraordinary stuff, I'm telling you. Let me tell you right now. Well, happy Tuesday. Welcome back. We remain at 888-630-9625. Too many wacky things going on. I got to adjust my setup period here. Way too much. The Washington Post has a woman. She types there. Her name is Kathleen Parker. Kathleen Parker pitches Hillary Clinton as Biden VP. Vice President. That's so when Joe Biden falls down a flight of stairs, which could happen tonight, by the way, then Hillary Clinton is standing there to take the tomahawk. She could, pass it to Elizabeth Warren, pass it, to anybody there. Hi, how are you? Hi, how are you? Hi, how are you? Hi, how are you? I think I'll have me a beer. Pretty amazing bunch of people we've got here, isn't it? They're real casual. Like Chuck Schumer. You saw Chuck Schumer yesterday pretending to grill burgers and hot dogs on the grill in, I guess, his daughter's backyard. That's what he said, his daughter, right? His daughter, and did you see the tweet? His daughter and his daughter's wife were having people over for the barbecue, and they don't know how to cook burgers. They have no idea. You don't want to eat with the Schumers. Let me just say that. I did run into Chuck Schumer at a restaurant in my neighborhood, my best girl and I, and he had that lizard grin on his face the whole time at the dinner table, sitting across, and the Lizard King was just, and his tongue was going, just sitting. He wasn't eating soup or anything. He was just sitting still. He was silent. He was sitting there silent, and I could tell he was lying. He was lying on the inside. It was quite extraordinary stuff. Chuck Schumer, you don't want to eat near him, and you definitely don't want to let him cook for you, because that you saw the picture that he posted, or somebody posted. He cooperated. He colluded. I think the Russians may have posted the photograph, and he had these raw burgers on the grill, like a Weber-style grill, and it looked kind of weird because if you look at the knobs on the grill, it looked like none of the fires were on, and there was no smoke, there was no sizzle. Had some raw burgers on there, and somebody put a slice of some kind of American-style cheese, which isn't really a dairy product at all, and as sitting there, and everything was just raw. And it reminded me of the story last week that I shared with you out of Harvard University. What's the difference? And Harvard University saying that there may be space aliens living among us here on Earth, space aliens. And of course, everyone immediately thought of Nancy Pelosi. I thought of Schumer, too, because he strikes me as quite a space alien. But whatever you do, if you're invited by Chuck Schumer for a barbecue, you don't want to go. Just bring your own stuff. Bring a salad or something, because that's not going to go very well. But back to Kathleen Parker at the Washington Post, because Kathleen Parker pitches Hillary Clinton as Biden VP. So what do you do with, you're going to have to give Kamala, you got to make, the Democrats, they think like the Soviet Union. And they think they'll just take Sonia Sotomayor, who is the spitting image of Jake LaMotta, which is pretty weird, and move her off of the Supreme Court, and then make Kamala. Do you think you'd have to ask her what is a woman? Ask her if she knows what a woman is, because turns out a lot of Democrat women who are jurists don't know the difference. I think if you're going to be a federal judge, and particularly if you're going to be a Supreme Court justice, you should be able to identify what a woman is, particularly if you're a woman. But give Kamala the seat that you just opened up on the Supreme Court by kicking Jake LaMotta off the court, and you put Kamala in there and say, oh, no, gosh, now we have to replace Kamala Harris because she got such a great job that she never dreamed of having. And you put Hillary in there, and then Joe Biden falls down a flight of stairs. Now, what's happening tonight is a fundraiser at the home of Terry McAuliffe. Everybody knows Terry McAuliffe. He used to be the governor of the Commonwealth of Virginia, and before that, he was the chair of the DNC. He's a longtime election denier. He is a corrupt person, and he denies the 2000 election, the Florida recount, hanging chads and all that stuff. And no hanging chads in Chuck Schumer's daughter's backyard, though. And they got the fundraiser there tonight at Terry McAuliffe's house. Terry McAuliffe, DNC chair, denies the 2000 election, denies the 2004 election, and they're having a big fundraiser at his house tonight.
If Catherine Harris, Jeb Bush, Jim Baker, and the Supreme Court hadn't tampered with the results, Al Gore would be president.
Al Gore. He denied the 2000 election. He denied the 2004 election.
We actually won the last presidential election, folks. They stole the last presidential election.
They stole it. It's okay when Democrats say it. You can be DNC chair. You can be a governor. You can be anything. And you can just, I think he still thinks Stacey Abrams won, too.
You can run the best campaign. You can even become the nominee. And you can have the election stolen from you.
Woo! Yeah. For me, the best part of that audio soundbite is the crowd cheering. Then you can still have the election stolen from you. They're like, yeah, stolen election. We love stolen elections. We applaud stolen elections. We cheer. We say woo. We say woo a lot. Republicans don't woo a lot, as you know. Mostly Democrats are wooing. And they woo, hey, kill the Jews. Hey, from the river to the sea, woo, wipe Israel off the map. We don't know what river, we don't know what sea, we don't know what genocide is, but we accuse everybody. So we got not a bright bunch. Democrats depend on low IQ voters, and that's why they demolished our educational system in the United States, because they know the dumber you are, the more likely you are to vote for a Democrat. And it's like the old Ronald Reagan line, it's not that, liberals don't know anything, it's just that so much of what they know is wrong. And that's what the Democrat Party depends on. So you got this, there are schemes going on, and I shared with you yesterday the story out of the Daily Mail out of the United Kingdom, where they had the inside skinny, the scoop, and it was an exclusive, I think it's still an exclusive, that there is a plot afoot among Democrats, including Barack Hussein Obama and Hillary Diane Rodham Clinton, because she still thinks the Oval Office is waiting for her. She goes to sleep at night angry, grinding her teeth or whoever's teeth they are, and just gnashing that she is going to reside in the White House, not as First Lady. And will she even let Bill Clinton into the White House? If she becomes president, where will Bill stay? Where will you think he's going to stay in the White House? He's going to sleep in the same? I don't think that's very likely. But the Daily Mail with the story that Barack Obama and Bill Clinton and Hillary Clinton, and then the Lizard King, Chuck Schumer, and Nancy Pelosi are going to go to the White House and sit down with Joe, and Jill Biden is going to be throwing ashtrays at their heads like Hillary in the old days at the White House, bouncing glass ashtrays off of Bill Clinton's head and all that stuff. But they think that, and look, I've been talking about this forever and ever, longer than anybody, I think, that Joe Biden will not be the nominee come election day. And I've been saying the whole time, do not count Hillary out, because Hillary Clinton is a Shakespearean figure. She's almost something from mythology. She is not gone, and just ask her. She's still ready. And now that you got Joe Biden is 81, what is, Hillary's not exactly a spring chicken, but compared to Joe Biden, she's relatively fresh poultry. So got that going for us. And Kathleen Parker at the Washington Post now saying that, Hillary Clinton should replace Kamala Harris and then be in waiting. Oh, yes. So they have this fundraiser tonight at Terry McAuliffe's house, which he bought with his ill-gotten gains, multi-million-dollar home lots of square footage. And the danger is lots of staircases, a lot of staircases in the house because it's many floors. And Joe Biden is going to be there for a big fundraiser, rich people, millionaires and billionaires, and, criminals, pro-Chinese, pro-Russia, pro-Iran, Democrats. You're going to have Democrats over there. And they're all like that now. And there's a lot of gender dysphoria. They'll probably have, that guy with the beard and the spangled dress that was at the White House next to Joe Biden when Joe Biden wasn't dancing and he was frozen. He was in a coma. So Juneteenth at Bernie's. Everything is at Bernie's, wherever Joe Biden goes. The G7 at Bernie's. Juneteenth at Bernie's. But they had that man, African-American man with a gray beard who was wearing a full-length spangled women's gown and kind of white cowboy boots, spiked heel ladies' boots. And they're all applauding, and they're all acting like this is perfectly normal. And in Democrat circles, it is. Just don't get into a hot tub with them because that's another thing altogether. Extraordinary stuff. But the fundraiser tonight, I'm digressing everywhere, but the fundraiser tonight, they've got all the Democrats and well, I don't know if Obama's going to be there. I don't think he is. But Bill Clinton's supposed to be there and Hillary Clinton. They have a multi-million-dollar mansion here in Washington off of Embassy Row, just blocks from the Obama's multi-million-dollar mansion just off of Embassy Row. The Obamas, though, is in the shadow of the main mosque in Washington, D.C., because Barack Hussein Obama once said, of course, that most beautiful sound he's ever heard is the call to prayer. Call to prayer. It's, his old-fashioned Christian ethic. That's Barry Soetoro talking, but never mind that. And so they've got a fundraiser there at Terry McAuliffe's house, and the Clintons are supposed to be there. And I got to tell you, if you're the Secret Service and you're listening to this radio broadcast right now, you got to keep an eye on Hillary and staircases because Joe Biden is in grave danger tonight. Hillary Clinton knows that if Joe Biden should fall down a flight of stairs at Terry McAuliffe's house, that her chances of owning the Oval Office increase exponentially. So she's looking forward to tonight's fundraiser, I think. Keep a very close eye on her. Speaking of the Secret Service, they had the fundraiser in Los Angeles where Barack Obama had to escort weekend at Biden's weekend at the LA fundraiser. And Biden had to be escorted off stage with Barack Obama's hand on his back, like, okay, Joe, let's go. It's time for an episode of Hazel. Let's go. Let's get you some porridge. And we brought some VHS tapes for you with Hazel episodes. And he's excited. He still can't raise his arms, but never mind that. And after the big fundraiser in Los Angeles, which was the biggest Democrat fundraiser in the history of the world, but money in politics, bad, unless it's their money in politics. But as they were breaking up that event, it was celebrity packed if you consider Jack Black to be a celebrity. And you know what, Jimmy Kimmel, I think he was that Girls on Trampolines, right? He was that guy, the Man Show. That was the highlight of his career. I think the apex and the high point. Now, Secret Service agent robbed at gunpoint after Biden fundraiser. This is in Los Angeles, California, where Biden had to be walked off the stage by Obama, and Obama was shaking his head and saying, I guess he's the best sock puppet we have right now. And it was kind of funny because when Obama had his hand on Biden's back, I'm holding my hand up like I got my hand on Biden's back and I'm walking him off the stage. Everything was there except the little loop on a string for the ventriloquist dummy, right, in Obama's hand. But remarkable stuff. It was full ventriloquism there. But Secret Service agent robbed at gunpoint. Los Angeles is so dangerous. And apparently shots were fired. Shots were fired. U.S. Secret Service, he's a federal law enforcement agent. A U.S. Secret Service agent was robbed at gunpoint on Saturday in California after President Joe Biden held a fundraising event in Los Angeles. On Saturday evening, a Secret Service employee had his bag stolen at gunpoint. Was he carrying a man purse? Was it a man bag? Was it like that? Or was it a fast-action gun? Fast-action gun. Secret Service used to carry a shoulder bag with an Uzi in it It was called a fast action gun. They abbreviated that, of course, but I won't do that for you here. It's an amazing world right now. So I've got more for you on that, on the Secret Service agent being robbed. Also, now most Latinos support mass deportations of illegal aliens because they're tired of being shot and robbed and assaulted and raped and stuff. Turns out that Latinos are not in favor of being victims of crime at the hands of gangs from Latin America. Democrats are finding that hard to believe. And radical left-wing New York Times typist Nicholas Kristof, who's a freak show himself, believes that something has gone badly wrong on the West Coast because Democrats are in charge. The Blue City murder problem and more. We're at 888-630-9625. Okay. I've got our European pallies. I like to call them pallies. They're not just allies to me, they're pallies. And Iran. And Iran. The Democrats love Iran. They're big Iranian lovers. Let's go to the telephones in the meantime. Let's go to Robert, calling from Waldorf, Maryland. Roberto, you're on the Chris Plant Show.
Good morning, Chris.
Hey, Robert.
I've been thinking about this stuff with Hunter. If everything you guys are talking about is to come into play, Hunter's going to need 2 pardons. I mean, how's he going to get out of now? I don't know if you can pardon him prior to be convicted. I believe that's the reason these cases are all before the election and before, possibility of Joe Biden losing. But Hunter's going to need 2 pardons or he's going to jail. So I don't see that option playing out myself, Chris. But what do you used to call it? Arkansas? There might be some Arkansas, or what they did with Scalia. Remember that incident with Scalia? How he just magically didn't wake up one morning.
Yeah, you got to look out, particularly when the Clintons are involved. It's very dangerous to cross the Clintons. So you think he's going to need a pardon for the gun charges and for the 3 convicted of 3 felonies? And you think the tax charges also, there should be more. There should be the, Foreign Agents Registration Act. That's a big one. There should be more. But you really I think you're quite the optimist that he's going to be convicted and be facing prison time. And that his father can pardon him anytime.
But even before he's found guilty, but that's why I think these cases are here right now. But how is he going to do that? But Chris, I got to say to you, Mike McKay's music was better than this music you're playing now. You got to.
I'm looking at Piercy. We're going to talk about that now. Yes. Well, Robert there was. I had to ask Michael Piercy what song was Robert talking about, and Michael said, "Well, this song is." I said, "No. He had to be talking about the previous song. What was the previous song?" Because Mike McKay, our former board operator extraordinaire, no longer with us on this planet, great Vietnam War veteran, Mike McKay, and the greatest music collection, the collection of music beds in the radio industry. Mike McKay, longtime rock and roll DJ 101 in Washington, D.C., DJ'd with Howard Stern when Howard Stern was back here in Washington long ago. And Mike McKay gifted us the greatest collection of music beds in the radio universe. And I asked Michael, well, what was the one you played before? And he said, well, it was an Usher song called Love in This Club. And I said, well, that wasn't part of Mike McKay's music library. And he said, no, it wasn't. No, it wasn't part of Mike McKay's music library. And I was unaware of this, Robert, and I think we're going to have that Usher song taken out and shot. We're going to take it out and shoot it. We're going to take it in the backyard of the White House and shoot it because we can't have that song, right, Michael? That song, that Usher song, Love in the Club, is out of the rotation, right? That's out of our collection. Mike McKay, because it's a gift and we can't tamper. Well, that's how we're going to take it out like it's a family dog, and we're going to shoot it. Going to shoot it in the head. It's going to be a terrible thing, but that's it. Because Robert said, "What's with that song?" And I don't even know what the song is because it's Usher. What I like, Hey, give me my Usher CD. That sentence I've never uttered, but never mind that. So let's get back to lots of stuff, because there's lots of stuff, and the madness is everywhere. Jamal Bowman, Congressman Jamal Bowman, he's a male member of the Squad. Does he identify as male? Is that he's the fire alarm guy? He's the pull the fire alarm guy. They call him 4-Alarm Jamal. He's the guy that pulled it was an insurrection, really. He disrupted an official government proceeding, and then he lied about it. And then the videotape surfaced, kind of, and then they didn't release all the videotapes because, too busy still celebrating shooting Ashley Babbitt and killing her, I think was one of the things there. But Jamal Bowman he's on the horns of a dilemma. He's in the midst of a conflict with his own party, the Democrat Party, gang of Hamas-loving commies and stuff. And I hope to get to this story too. He's in trouble as a Democrat where he is, and the Democrats are challenging him. And now he's got this Israel problem too, because apparently he hates the Jews. He hates the Jews. The Protestants hate the Catholics, and the Catholics hate the Protestants, and the Muslims hate the Hindus, and everybody hates the Jews because it's National Brotherhood Week. But yeah, perhaps we'll get to the Jamal Bowman, because he's not doing so well either, which is good. And I got a lot of cringe I want to get to, because she was particularly unhinged yesterday. Cringe on Pierre. But the Secret Service story, federal agents, this is how dangerous Los Angeles is. I assume it was illegal aliens or any illegal alien or something robbing, and apparently it's a man, because it said has his bag stolen at gunpoint near a Southern California residential community. So where are you if you're not in a residential community? But near a residential community, according to the Tustin Police Department. Who's ever heard of Tustin? That's Tustin. That's not a place. The agent fired his service weapon during the robbery and missed. See, this apparently, although they say it's unknown whether the suspect was injured, because they have not been located yet. When they say they don't want to attach a gender to the robber, because it's California and it could turn out to be wrong later. So I shot a man, but it turned out to be a woman. So a federal agent with a gun is robbed at gunpoint after attending. He's there with Barack Obama and with Joe Biden and with Jack Black, who dresses like a clown and looks worse than ever before. He looks like he should be living under a bridge drinking old Milwaukee beer. It's pretty amazing stuff. It's Milwaukee's Best. I'm sorry, Milwaukee's Best. And give me a case of Milwaukee's Best. But that was Milwaukee's Best was in the news last week. So it's not clear whether the suspect was injured, even though the Secret Service officer or agent was robbed and opened fire with their service weapon, which would be a semi-automatic pistol, opening fire in Los Angeles, California after being robbed. Can't even tell. Wouldn't there be blood? I think there would be blood. See a blood trail. You get the flashlight out and go over there, because it was at night. The agent was returning from a work assignment when the robbery occurred. Secret Service spokesman Anthony Guglielmi said in a statement he did not sustain any injuries, which is good. The Secret Service employee, agent or officer, the spokesman said, and the agent's name has not been released. They say his name has not been released. The police department said there is no public threat. That's a lie. Of course there's a public threat. There's an armed robber who's robbing federal agents loose on the streets of Los Angeles. Don't be ridiculous. Los Angeles is one giant public threat. Then there's San Francisco, which makes San Francisco makes L.A. look safe, rather. But seeking help in identifying the robbers. Now we got robbers. So it says fired at the suspect, and now we got robbers. Suspect is singular, and then robbers is plural. There are a lot of singular, plural disagreements going on these days. I noticed that Cringe had a number of singular, plural disagreements yesterday from the podium at the White House when being asked about Joe Biden wandering and getting lost and meandering and his arms don't move when he walks, and he's falling asleep. And it was during the Juneteenth, which wasn't on Juneteenth at all because that's tomorrow. But they celebrated it early just in case Joe Biden couldn't make it, and when the real Juneteenth rolled around. And then he was in Italy for the G7, which is now the G6 because Joe Biden wandered off. Just wandered off. Now they can't. Now it's just the G6. Sorry, that was the Babylon Bee yesterday. And then he had to be escorted off the stage by Barack Obama, his puppet master, who walked Joe Biden off like he was a ventriloquist dummy. And then Cringe was asked about it yesterday at the White House. And I got to tell you, reading this story about the agent being robbed, and they first fired at the suspect. Now they're looking for help identifying the robbers, plural. And then they say it, Politico, the left-wing rag in Washington. Biden was in Los Angeles for a star-studded fundraiser, if you consider Jack Black and Jimmy Kimmel to be, today's Marilyn Monroe and Clark Gable. But never mind that. So, the stars aren't what they used to be. And it's always been a dumb word, hasn't it? So Biden was at a star-studded fundraiser that broke Democratic fundraising records Saturday night, raising $28 million. The event included a moderated conversation by late-night host Jimmy Kimmel. He's a star. We just lowered the bar more and more with each rotation of the planet. With Biden and former President Barack Obama, he was the real star. They all want to take a hot tub with him. There's doubt about it. Also featured actors George Clooney and Julia Roberts. They've made some big movies. Jason Bateman, Jack Black, Catherine Hahn, and Cheryl Lee Ralph. Now, if Catherine Hahn and Cheryl Lee Ralph fell through the ceiling tiles and landed on Michael Piercy across from me right now, I would say, who are those people? Michael, who are those people that just fell on you through the ceiling tiles? I don't know who they are. Amazing. Just amazing stuff. But let's go. Let's go to soundbite number one, since I mentioned Jack Black. And you see, I don't know what that article of clothing is called. I think it might be called a jumper, but isn't that for teenage girls? And it had an American flag pattern, which they cut up, and I think later they burned his jumper outside. Maybe he's self-immolated. They love self-immolation these days, too. But Jack Black at this L.A. fundraiser, and, he was real funny in that movie Anchorman when he kicked the dog off the bridge, when he drop-kicked that little dog off the bridge, and that was funny. Funny moment. That's the funniest moment I think he's had in his entire career. Jack Black at this L.A. fundraiser where even the Secret Service get robbed.
When the president wins in November, I'm pretty sure I'm going to get a sweet shout out in his victory speech for what I gave up to be here. Because when democracy is at stake, Jack Black answers the call. Mr. President, you're welcome.
Yeah. Well, first of all, the egos, Hollywood egos are something to behold. Let's start with that. And then the old democracy is at stake. I thought democracy might be at stake when a political party used the IRS against their political enemies, and then used the Justice Department against their political enemies, and the FBI against their political enemies, and lied to the FISA court in order to get secret spy warrants to spy on their political enemies. And then they jail their political enemies, like Peter Navarro, a White House official, who, based on executive privilege, declined to appear for a congressional subpoena, while Hunter Biden roams free. You want to talk about the end of democracy. And the list goes on and on of people that they want to jail, their political enemies. And the Justice Department, the intelligence community, speaking of which, Mike Morrell, former CIA temporary chief, is out there saying, our open border might lead to a terrorist attack. And unfortunately for him, he has no more credibility than Jack Black. And I'll update you on that because completely ridiculous. Yeah, when democracy is at stake, Jack Black shows up for the Democrats. Honestly, let's give him to Hamas. Let's drop him out of a plane over Rafah and let him fight his way out. Like Escape from Rafah. We'll give him a Snake Plissken outfit or something. But he did that kicking that dog. What was the dog's name? Because kicking the dog off the bridge into the river, that was a funny moment. But democracy is at stake. Jack Black shows up. We're doomed, ladies and gentlemen. More proof that we're doomed. Baxter is not a very good name for it, but okay, that's okay. And then Joe Biden at the LA fundraiser, where his brain, she's a no good. That brain of his, she's a broke.
We have the highest unemployment, the lowest unemployment.
The highest unemployment.
Years. We have more people.
Or the lowest.
We've had over 15 million people brand new hired into the workforce. You know, my son says.
His son.
You know, we all have various short-term descriptions for your jobs.
Short-term.
What you accomplish.
What?
You should say Joe Jobs.
Yeah, I should say Joe Jobs. Yeah, I don't know. Let's ask Tara Reid about that. She calls him Joe Jobs. That's a different thing. All right, then cringe. Let's go to cringe, because cringe was particularly cringe-worthy yesterday at the White House during the White House briefing. Pretty amazing stuff. I'm looking at we got a lot of cringe here. Not sure I get enough time to get to all the cringe right now. So let me save it until we've got enough time to get to all the cringe, because too much cringe. Very cringe-worthy stuff yesterday. Amazing. And multiple singular plural disagreements by the White House spokesmodel, also known as Raggedy Ann. Let's go to the telephones. Let's go to Ryan calling from Northwest Arkansas with no particular town in mind. Ryan, you're on the Chris Plante Show.
Good morning, sir. How you doing?
Very well, thank you very much.
So we've got the upcoming debate, right?
Sure.
And the rules are that the microphones are going to be muted when somebody's not speaking. That's fine. And that there's no pre-written notes allowed, because you know what happened last time. They don't want Trump to pull receipts out of his jacket like he's done before, because that just destroys them. And also, Biden gets to sit down, right?
Biden only on the floor. and that's only after he falls.
Right. Exactly. Yes.
Yes.
So I was thinking, number one, what Trump should do, if Biden's going to sit down, that's fine. He should literally get up and do like he did to Hillary and walk circles around him while he's talking. I mean, wouldn't that just make him lose it?
That'd make CNN lose it too. They'd go into a pen, and there's no audience, because an audience would benefit President Trump. But there are no written notes, and we know that Joe Biden, he's probably going to have notes written on his hand like a high school girl, at a big test. They're going to find ways. Well, first of all, they found ways to cheat. It's being hosted by CNN, and then the other one's being hosted by ABC. And who do they have? They have Jake Tapper, who is a former Democrat Capitol Hill staffer who worked for the Democrat House member from Pennsylvania, whose son married Chelsea Clinton. Poor guy. I guess somebody had to. Remarkable stuff. And then they've got Dana Bash, and Dana Bash's ex-husband, Jeremy Bash, was an Obama administration official, and he's one of the Democrats that signed on to the felonious 51 letter lying to us that Hunter Biden's laptop had all the earmarks of Russian disinformation. So those are the two hosts. The Democrats have the deck stacked in their favor everywhere you look, Ryan.
Yes. It's definitely going to be must-watch TV, probably better than the Super Bowl even. But Chris, I was also thinking that Trump should say if he can't pull notes out of his pocket or he can't have written notes, then Biden shouldn't be able to have a microphone in his ear, right?
In his ear, yeah, I think that's fair, the microphone in the ear thing. But now they have those little tiny miracle ears that are barely noticeable, barely detectable from the outside. It's going to be fascinating, and you're right, it's going to be very highly rated because there's so much to see. You know, Joe Biden has to survive the fundraiser tonight at Terry McAuliffe's house in Virginia, where Hillary Clinton and Bill Clinton will be. Bill Clinton's not a danger to Joe Biden, but Hillary Clinton is honestly warning. The Secret Service got whatever their extra heightened alert level is. They're going to have to be on extra heightened alert level tonight because Hillary in the house with Joe Biden. Hillary still thinks the Oval Office is hers. She is not done. For her, this is not over. Remember, her slogan is, "There is only the fight." There is only the fight. Never marry a woman whose slogan is, there is only the fight. But I got Cringe coming up, and she was amazing yesterday.
He was really trying to literally stalk me around the stage, and I would just feel this presence behind me.
I have so much to report since just moments ago. And I'm going to get to Cringe after the news at the top of the hour because there's a lot of it, and it's so ridiculous. And the many, many singular, plural disagreements on the part of Cringe, pretty great. But I do want to tell Robert that that Usher song, Love in That Club, we've done away with that, so it's no longer in the library because of you, by special request. Also, an update on Ron Burgundy's dog, because my friend Tim texted me, and Michael had it right. It was Baxter. It's Baxter. But my friend Tim tells me that Ron Burgundy's dog in the movie Anchorman was named for Ted Baxter. You know, Ted Baxter from the Mary Tyler Moore Show, news anchor. What's his name? And that's great. You don't know nothing. And Michael he's just given up. Mary Tyler Moore. He's just given up on everything. And that's that. So we got that. And it's Ted Knight. And so we got Justin Timberlake arrested. Justin Timberlake, he's a songster, and he's been arrested. He's been arrested in New York. And we saw the headline, he's been arrested. Is it a double homicide? Who did he kill? Turns out it's an alleged, they can't even say, they got to say it's an alleged. Justin Timberlake in police custody in New York for alleged DUI, driving while intoxicated in Sag Harbor, New York, while intoxicated. I've got to say, I'm amazed that he drives himself. He's one of the richest people on the planet.